I remember the morning of 9/11. A coworker was coming to my house to meet me, and we were going to be driving to Vernal for a homicide training.
I was in the same position I'm in right now. I was a training captain at the time.
I had just gotten out of the Marine Corps about 3 months prior, and I had enrolled in college.
I just come into my office, was talking to the fire chief, and he said, "Hey, a plane just hit the World Trade Center." Wow, okay.
I remember sitting there, and the professor came in and he said, "Hey, something's going on." He turned on the TV and we started watching it.
I was 26 years old when 9/11 happened, and I was dating a fireman at the time. So he was the one that actually called me and told me that a plane had hit one of the towers.
And I remember seeing pictures of one of the towers on fire, and then heard the report that a plane had crashed into it and thought, oh my gosh, this is horrible. And watching that event unfold, saying how it was a commercial airliner that had crashed into the tower, I thought about what it meant for those guys. It's going to be a long day for those guys back in the fire department back there, the work that they're going to be doing.
Kept watching it, and then all of a sudden, a second plane hit the other tower, and I just remember, the news was showing people running and smoke pouring out, and I really didn't know what to think. And then as they just kept reporting, there was a terrorist attack, and you seen the flames, and at that point in time, I know in my mind I was thinking that this can't be good.
And it was heartbreaking.
I thought about the firefighters walking up those flights of stairs and thinking, my gosh, they're going to be spent before they ever get to fight the fire. And then the first tower fell.
And the second tower fell. It was almost surreal. I guess I thought when they said it was a terrorist attack, I'm thinking, wow, that could never happen here.
My heart just ached.
And if you look back at that time of what those men and women did, there was no thought of their own well-being. They just went there and did whatever they had to do to save those in need.
They started reporting about all the people, the firefighters that were not coming out, and I think everybody was glued to the TV. You couldn't believe what was happening. And as they just kept saying, nobody's coming out, and you knew that there was firefighters, citizens that they were gone.
I needed to do something. As a firefighter, that's our nature. We want to help, and we want to do something. When I came into work, I approached my boss and I said, what would you think if we did a fundraiser and went around the country and raised money to give to the firefighters' families back in New York? He said, that's a great idea, run with it. And so from that, I kind of had to oh crap. Because my thought was we'd take a fire engine around the country and raise money. We went to Appleton, Wisconsin to pick up the fire apparatus, and they had it adorned beautifully with all kinds of labels and logos and stickers. Fallen Fund, Healing the Nation, one city at a time, all those kind of things decorated on that engine. And our first stop was in Chicago. And I think that first day we were kind of disappointed. We only raised about $2,000. And so we were kind of well, we've got 18 more stops before we get to New York. And the next day we were in St. Louis. And that's what we do. We'd raise funds during the day, pack everything up, drive until wee hours of the morning. St. Louis was a good day. We made a lot of good contacts and good progress. From St. Louis, we went to Kansas City. From Kansas City, we went to Denver. From Denver, we came back to Salt Lake City. Then from Salt Lake City, we went to Portland, Oregon, then down the coast in California. We ended up in Los Angeles, in North Hollywood on Halloween. We went from North Hollywood to Las Vegas to Phoenix, Arizona. From Phoenix, we ended up going to Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City to Nashville, Tennessee. Nashville, Tennessee to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania to Philadelphia. And then from Philadelphia, we went into New York. As a group, we decided that we would walk to ground zero. The roads were dingy and covered with dust, and it was dark, and it was just a really gloomy aspect. And then as I walked out of that alleyway, which was right next to the station, it opened up right up into ground zero. And it's interesting, I've got some photographs of the handrails, the 2x4 handrails, with handwritten things of family members that had visited there. And it was a sacred experience as we were there. We spent a good amount of time there, and not many words were spoken. I hope that this generation of firefighters coming in can understand the sacrifice that those guys made as they're climbing those towers. I think many of them knew that chances are we're not coming back down.
I think part of what 9/11 did, and what I would hope that our first responders of this generation would take away from that, is that in the moment you run towards the danger, you take care of what needs to be taken care of. And there were so many unsung heroes that day, so many people who didn't want any kind of hero title, and because it's what they do, it's what they were trained to do. And the humbleness of responding and helping is just, it's a part of what we sign up for.
I will say that ever since that day, so it's been 20 years, I've worn this on my wrist. And this is one of the firefighters who died at the World Trade Center. So for 20 years, I don't know what it is, for me, I've never taken this off. And so it's a constant reminder. This one that I have was Father Michael Judd, who was the chaplain for the fire department. And he was listed as Fire Victim 001. So he was the first one.